Hi, in this recording we will see the power of Excel and how you can utilize Excel to add things like data validation, where you validate dates if they are accurate and correct. Also providing users with drop-down lists that they can choose from as they fill applications. So as you can see here, we have a cool center called Kidsy Zone, where you have kids registering for activities like game nights, field trips, and martial arts. And we will be collecting data about them, like the registration date, their name, the activity that they want to participate in, whether they live in Richmond, Virginia or not. We'll collect also the address, their phone number, and then for the activity fee, we will check if they live in Richmond, then it's going to be a certain amount. And if they live outside of Richmond, then it will be a higher amount. So first, to make sure that we are collecting valid data, we want to make sure that when they put the registration date here, it would be a valid date. And so to add this data validation, you would go to the Data tab in Excel and then click on Data Validation under Data Tools. And so in here, you will specify like what you will be allowing in this particular field, and we will be allowing a date. And let's say our activities are going to be between March 1st, 2024 and May 1st, 2024. So in terms of registration date, we will allow only dates between these two dates. If it's outside these dates, then we will throw an error message as they enter the registration date, where we'll tell them that they need to enter a correct and valid date. And so in the error alert tab, we can say that, we will throw this stop style error message. And stop style simply means that they cannot proceed with the date they entered until they fix it. There are also other styles like warning and information, but we'll make sure that they use a correct date by using the stop style. So we click stop style, and then in the title we can say something like invalid registration date. And then for the actual message, we can say to the user, enter a date between March 1st, 2024 and May 1st, 2024. Okay, so I'm going to click OK right now. And let's test this and make sure it works. So if I put a date that is in like May 15 of 2024, that's an invalid date. And so let's see if this works. If I change this to May 15, 2024, and I hit enter to try to proceed, we get this error message saying invalid registration date. And you see how we can customize the error message. It won't allow me to proceed until I fix it. So if I cancel this and I put a valid date like April 15, 2024, it takes it, no issues. Now, other things we can do with data validation is we can insert or add an input message that invites the user to put certain information. So let's say we want to add an input message inviting the user to put the youth's name here. We go to data validation again, and the second tab says input message. And so for the title of the input message, we can say something like youth name. And for the actual prompt, the actual message, it will say something like enter the youth's full name. And you see how we have an input message inviting the user to add their youth's name. If I click away from it, it disappears. You can make it always show by clicking here and basically deselect this. But for now, this is what we need. It looks good. Now, in terms of activities, it will be cool to add a drop-down list, which provide them with these options here. And so for activities, again, going to data validation, in this case, we will allow them to choose from a list of values. So that will give them a drop-down. And the source of the list of values we will provide is basically here. So this is my source. This is the range that I will give them in the drop-down. Now you can also specify an error alert, just like we did before for the registration date. But to make it simple, we can go with the default error alert from Excel. So click OK. And now we have a drop-down list. Cool. So if they want martial arts, we click martial arts. If they put an activity like sleeping, of course sleeping is not valid. So if they type sleeping here and they hit enter, they get the error message from Excel saying that the value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this Excel. Click cancel, go back to martial arts. Now in terms of Richmond resident, if we want to make sure that they put either yes or no in here, again we'll give them a drop-down list with these two values. So we go to data validation, and then we will allow a list of values. But in this case, we don't have a source of values to choose from. So in that case, all you need to do is type the acceptable values here. So we'll type yes, that's one option, comma, no, that's the second option. And now you see how we have yes and no as our options. If they put an invalid value like maybe they live in Richmond, and we hit enter, you see how we get this error message. So it does not allow them to proceed. And you see how it is important to protect your data using these data validation rules.